Hello there. Didn't see you there. Welcome to the Thumbstick Adventures show. I am Juicy Samples.
I'm Kagros.
I am Ice Drake King.
This is kind of weird. Sorry, I the order's all mixed up. But today we have a really fun show. We're gonna watch today's Nintendo Indies showcase. Before we do that, we're gonna go over and talk about this past week's news. And before we start talking about the weekly news, I do want to plug in, thank you if you're watching us live on twitch.com/thumbstick adventures. And then you can also catch our VODs and all of our past episodes at YouTube, also under Thumbstick Adventures. There's episode 21. I think you named it Nindies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's jump right into it. This past week's news is pretty light. I think there's, at least for me, there's three worthy news lines that I would like to bring up. But I think Kagros has something, near and dear to his heart that he would love to bring up.
I mean, light for you maybe, but this week has been like a bombshell for me.
Really?
Not just one game from my childhood got one game from my childhood, but there's actually a second game. So let's go over the first one. So Neo: The World Ends With You released a gameplay trailer and also announced when I think their release date. I think July 21st. I think it was like somewhere at the end of July. And to be honest, what after I watched the trailer, I sent a message in our group chat for our fantasy league, and I was like, I gotta be honest here. I think this game is gonna get in the low 80s after watching that trailer. Like, The World Ends With You, I didn't really care much about the gameplay in the original game, but like this one, it looks really dated. Like the gameplay looks really dated. Like the boss battle, like other than your party and the boss, there's like nothing in the background. It's like empty. So I'm very surprised that a game, that it would be like that. But to be honest, The World Ends With You the strength is going to be the story, and hopefully, I hope they can do that. And there's no way you can tell that from a gameplay trailer.
I'm very optimistic for this game. I would have said the same thing, but for the first trailer that they've announced, because I believe they released a trailer under some Nintendo Direct, and it looked like garbage. Like it looked like it was running at least under 30 frames per second. So like having this latest trailer come up where it shows also that's releasing it on PS4 and I think PC maybe, which is really great news because at least you'll get that 30 FPS crispy graphics. But yeah, it looks good. I think the story is very intriguing and it seems like it's hitting all of those fan favorites in terms of having different teams, and it mentions like the Reapers and the Shinigamis. So
The Shinigamis.
It's interesting.
IDK.
Yeah.
What do you think about The World Ends With You? Did you watch the trailer, right?
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I think it looks okay. I think it looks all right. I like the art style. I do think I agree with you in that one clip of the boss fight. Like the background did seem pretty empty. I do think that was also because there's a risk of having too much stuff back there that could distract you from fighting the boss. So I think they were going for, we'll keep it simple and clean, and then make it easy for you to fight. Because maybe there'll be a bunch of spell effects going off from your tokens or whatever, your badges, your pins.
Yes,
see?
your pins.
My only concern with it was reading the Reddit thread. People were saying that it looks like this game will be continuing the story of the anime. So anything that happens in the anime is fair game to show up in the game.
Really?
So it is a sequel to the first game. But if they did things in the anime or if something was changed in the anime from the original game, that's the
I don't like that.
canon they're going to follow.
I don't like that.
Which means we have to watch the anime.
No.
We have to watch the anime.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I am aware of, what was it, Final Mix? The World's New Final Mix?
Final Mix. Yeah,
use like the bonus scenes that it's supposed to lead into this game because like
yeah,
one of the Ruin Bringers was featured in the previous game as well as
yeah.
like the main bad person Coco was also featured in another day. I don't know what the name of the sub episode was, but yeah, she's in there.
Yeah, so that's why I think they're going to do it that way because they plan to take all those story elements, the original story plus those extra bits, jam them into the anime, have the anime end, and then blammo, here comes the game. So I'm excited for it. I agree with Juicy. It can look oh meh, but between looking a little meh but still being fun to play, or looking great but being absolute ass to play, you know, I'll take the good gameplay over the graphics for now.
Yeah. So the second thing I wanted to bring up was Age of Empires 4 also got a release date or a release window. I don't think they gave us a strict date, but it got a release window. And I have been waiting for Age of Empires 4 for a while now because I was very curious in which direction they were going to take the franchise. Because it was announced back in 2017, I think. 2017 or 2018, and like there was like no news about this game. And I was talking to my other friend about this. He's also a big Age of Empires fan. And then I'm like, dude, when is it coming out? Like it was 2 or 3 years ago. And then when they announced that they're gonna have the fan event where they're gonna reveal Age of Empires 4 info, I sent it to him right away. And like the moment that the Age of Empires 4 trailer dropped, he texted me, he's like, all right, you gotta watch this. And to be honest, I am quite disappointed by it because they didn't take it in the direction that I wanted to take. Because I actually thought that they were going to advance history. So a lot of people may not know this, but Age of Empires 3 actually took the gameplay elements from Empire Earth. Empire Earth's industrial age. So Empire Earth, it spanned all of history, and they had different. So they had the weapon triangle for up to the Middle Ages, which is Age of Empires 2, and then after that, the weapon triangle changes when guns are invented, and Age of Empires 3 took that new weapon triangle, and they used that for Age of Empires 3. Now Empire Earth also does have after the Industrial Age, which is the World War, the 1900s, the modern age, atomic age, and I thought, oh, they're gonna do airplanes. They're gonna do airplanes. I wonder how Age of Empires is gonna play with airplanes. But then they decided instead to make Age of Empires 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? Makes sense, right?
We're going back to the old ages, boys.
Oh my gosh! Oh man! They already have Age. To be fair, I'm not surprised because most of the original team is all gone. The team that's left is the team that does these remasters for Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 3. So I think they decided to play it safe, and they just basically we're gonna remake Age of Empires 2, and then just modernize it. But I was talking to my friend about this as well, and he's like, "Dude, these graphics would have been fine in 2013, but it's 2020 now." He's like, "I don't really like the graphics here," and they modernized. The UI looks great, and they have ambushes, which is cool as hell. They have ambushes. You can hide in the bushes. You can hide in the bushes and then ambush your. That's really cool. I like that. That was my favorite part of the trailer when you can hide in the bushes and ambush. That sounds like an IDK tactic.
See, that's why I said though. Who cares if the graphics look like 2013? As long as the gameplay is fun.
Yes.
Then you can get a mod later on and make it super beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not gonna find a mod that makes the gameplay actually fun. Mm-hmm. Yes. That would be my tactic.
Yeah, that's what.
Because that's what I did in Generals. Command Conquer Generals. I always played the Taliban. I mean the GLA. The GLA. Global Liberation Army. We don't have airplanes. We have anti-air nests that are stealthed.
And for the record, I'm still going to
Empire 2. Is Empire 2 the fan favorite, or is it 3?
Age of Empires?
I think Age of Empires 2 is the fan favorite, but I personally like Age of Empires 3 a lot more. I think the gameplay is a lot better, it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot smoother. It seems like, based on from what I read, people like Age of Empires 2 more. But I for one, I like the changes made in Age of Empires 3 a lot more. I think it's a lot more focused on fighting. You don't have to worry about your economy as much if you get to the end game. because it just generates automatically. Age of Empires 2, you can run out of resources. You have to spend a lot of time hunting for new resources, which can be really annoying when all you want to do at that point in the game is just fight.
This is true. A lot of people have nostalgia glasses for Age of Empires 2.
Yes. Yeah, how do you turn this on, dude? That's there will never be a better cheat code than how do you turn this on?
Remember that. There's some other ones.
All right. Well, enough from me. Let's go to IDK now. IDK, what news has interested you? Like I had two big ones, but I'm curious on what news has interested you.
Okay, so I have two, but they're not really huge or anything. We'll go with the first one, which is for Nier Replicant. The remake of Nier Replicant from back on the 7th generation consoles. There was a lot of concern from Western fans because if you know the story of Nier Replicant, they made two versions. One was sold in the East, one was sold in the West. Westerners got the main character was referred to as Papa Nier. Or was it Papa Gestalt?
Dad Nier?
Dad Nier.
Yeah, Papa Nier. Papa Nier. Dad Nier. So like the main character was an old man. And story wise the girl you're related to is your daughter. But in the East, he was a young guy and it was your sister. And so when they announced the remake for Replicant, they announced globally everyone was going to get the Eastern version. You'd be getting Brother Nier, not Papa Nier. So the Western fans who actually played the game and liked it were a little upset and a little, sad. And we just got news that Nier Replicant is going to feature cut content from the original, which is good. Because Yoko Taro probably had a billion ideas for that game and couldn't fit them all in. And there will be something for Papa Nier fans.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing a secret boss. That's my money on the table for that. So
no shirt off.
What, you want me to take my shirt off for this?
No, Daddy Nier has no shirt off. I was hoping that was a cut content.
What is it? Fan service edition. So get that fan service
edition. I don't know, but I'm gonna imagine they'll probably end up putting a bunch of Easter eggs to Nier Automata in there. Since that is the sequel to it, even though it's set. Anyways, it'll be interesting, to say the least. It makes me more excited for getting that game when I eventually do get it. Okay, for my other thing that caught my interest today was this is pretty funny. The demo for Balan Wonderland is being removed, effective immediately.
Why?
They are taking it down from the store. Yeah, so the Balan Wonderland demo to be taken down today for consoles, tomorrow for Steam.
But why?
And we don't know why it was taken down. We don't know why. It doesn't say. It doesn't say why it was taken down. And people on Reddit were hypothesizing it was because of seizure issues that the game has. Apparently, the final boss is very trippy and can cause seizures.
But the demo
supposedly
doesn't have that, right?
The demo doesn't have the final boss in it, so no one really knows why people were bringing that up. But this sort of caught my interest because, well, the demo is really what sort of deflated that game's momentum. Like, before it came out, I actually thought about bidding on it in our league.
Oh, thank God!
I heard rumblings it wasn't very good.
Good thing you didn't. Otherwise, you're basically out. Just like in our original.
I had
league.
heard rumblings that it might not be too good, but I was like, well, come on, it's a Square Enix game. And then my red alert went off, and I remembered that one Front Mission game they put out a couple years ago that did horrible.
Left Behind. Left Behind, right?
Left Behind, the spinoff. It was tanked horribly. I'm like, maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't get this game.
Like,
good thing I did.
If you had that game, you're basically out of the league. Like, there's no way you're getting first if you had Battle Wonderland.
And reading up on people's responses to this, someone had posted that they read a bit of the development on Wikipedia. Apparently, someone's updated Battle Wonderland's development part of Wikipedia, and it also doesn't surprise me. So apparently the guy who made this game, Yuji Naka, he's the guy who created Sonic. He didn't think the game needed a story, So Square Enix insisted he put a story in there.
Hmm.
So someone in the company made a bunch of different random scenarios, and he just picked his favorites to turn into a story. So there is absolutely no connective tissue between the chapters in that game. It's literally just someone threw these up on a wall, and he picked his favorite ones.
Hmm.
And apparently he promised it would have 80 power-ups. And so then he was just randomly making power-ups to chase that number in the game. And it goes on, and about how like all the controls are bad. You know, Balan Wonderland, I remember when it was announced, it seemed pretty cool. And when they announced it was being created by Sonic creator, and he'd sort of made Knights, and it looked kind of like Knights, everyone was like, whoa, what's the gameplay going to be like? I don't think anyone really expected it to be that horrible. It was really that bad.
I feel like
Now they're taking away the demo.
it's one of those games that would have done really well in the previous generations, only because there was no internet. So then you would trick these grandmas into buying these games. And like people would play these games like, dude, this game is terrible. But nowadays people are informed. People like know about the director, they're invested before the game even comes out. I would say at least I still feel like the people who care about that are still a very niche group, but at least I think people are much more informed nowadays. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like this type of game is still going to have grandmas buying it for their kids during Christmas.
I mean, I think if it's in a discount bin, and the grandma sees how like colorful it's gonna look, because like the art design looks pretty good, right? Yeah, some poor kid's gonna get Balan Wonderland for Christmas. He's gonna be so confused.
There's like an 8-year-old girl is gonna say, "But the open critic score is 52." Grandma, why? Or whatever the open critic score is. I think it's pretty low, right?
It's in the 40s. I think it's in the 40s now.
It's gotta be in the 30s or 40s.
Wow.
I think it's in the 40s. It's really bad. Like it will destroy you if you drafted it.
The demo
That's
is
rough.
what seemed to really change the perception around this game to negative, and it looks like Square Enix are trying to salvage the game by hoping people just pick it up without looking into it at all. There we go. So
That's a smart play. Smart play.
Yeah.
Power move.
honestly,
They're just following Sony's footsteps, you know? Instead of removing the entire store, just remove one game.
well, it goes into the more extensive topic we can probably talk about later about why demos have sort of disappeared from the main AAA scene and why you see actually a lot more indies do demos. Because, to put it simply, a well-done demo for a game no one was excited for will likely generate sales.
Mm-hmm.
Versus a poorly made demo for a game people were excited for, which will actually hurt sales.
Yep.
Even if the game ends up being good. Like, Monster Hunter is notorious for having really poorly thought out demos. Just throw the player in with no tutorial or any explaining whatsoever. It's literally just there for experienced players to try it out and be like, oh, the game's going to do this time. Okay, I know what to do. No one picking it up for the first time is just going to sit there and be like, wow, this game sucks. I'm never playing it.
I think for demos, is like back then, it's a great way to get people's attention about the game without having to like show them, without having to like show ads for it. But nowadays, video games just have trailers, and people watch YouTube all the time. And if you're into games, it's gonna pop up in your feed eventually. So I feel like the trailers have replaced demos for at least for what their purposes were.
I think the only big major AAA game with a great demo I can think of in the past couple of years was Dragon Quest XI. That had a really good demo because it was just the beginning of the game. It was literally just the first 5 hours of the game.
Did you guys play Catherine? The Catherine demo?
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2013?
I did not.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It got me excited.
How did that one work?
I think it was like the first level. I'll include the story too. So like the first hour. I think
demos. I think that like with Dragon Quest XI, it was like you play the demo for a certain amount of time, you clear a certain amount of content, and then if you decide like, oh, I really like this game, you literally just buy the game,
Oh
You
yeah.
continue where you left.
Yeah, so that's and
Right.
don't
So
forget,
cool.
Melody and Memories had a demo too. Don't forget that too.
Mhm.
That's
When
right.
I think it was to Square Enix's credit, I think that was a very risky play because just like I think what we talked about this before, but like the track selection we didn't really like it. It was really hit or miss for us, right? The tracks they put in the
Right.
demo.
Right.
But then when you play the actual game, there's a lot of tracks that you actually would like. That's why I said it was a very risky move because it's very subjective what songs you
Right.
like, right?
But they had
It's
to be
pretty
careful.
objective. Like the songs sucked. Like there
They
there
had
were
no,
no
no, no, no.
hits.
They had to be careful not to give you the game for free. If they give you the best songs in the demo, why would you bother buying the game? They had to hide them away. Should have given us one good song and then a bunch of filler. That way it hooks you.
Mhm.
But they played it kind of dumb. We're like, here's all these songs you don't care about. This is how the game
It
works.
was a risky play. For them, it was a risky play to do that.
It was very risky. Didn't burn him as bad as Battleline Wonderland though.
All right.
But anyways,
Let's move
that's
to
my
Juicy.
news.
Let's move to Juicy. Juicy, what you got?
I think you all covered really great news. Yeah, there's no like bombshells like, oh, the PS5 is back in stock. Nah, it's still out of stock. No one can get it. They pretty much just soft launched it last year. We're not gonna get it until 2023. End of story on PS5. But what really caught my attention this past week was this trailer for the Mass Effect Remaster Trilogy. I'm super excited. I think I've mentioned to you too about how I want it to be a game for us to play all together. I know we're not gonna play the entire trilogy because that would be at least like 100 hours, but I think the story is really good, and I don't know, Kagros, are you into sci-fi?
Yeah, but the Mass Effect series hasn't really appealed to me. That, like, I played Dragon Age. I think Dragon
Mhm.
Age is also BioWare, right?
Mhm.
I played
Yeah.
the first
Mhm.
Dragon Age, and it was okay. Like to me, I don't know. I think I just have a bias for Eastern games over Western games. I don't really like. I don't know. I just didn't like the original Dragon Age, and the Mass Effect games didn't really. I just think that I like the Japanese way of storytelling over the way the Western storytellers do it. I don't know. It just never really appealed to me. Like,
So the cool thing about Mass Effect is I actually jumped in when the second one came out,
mhm,
and and I bought the second one on PS3, which interestingly enough, the original Mass Effect didn't come out on PS3.
mhm.
So then they had this like um uh what is it called, like a prelude to Mass Effect 2, where you just play this like almost like comic book game where you pick out all of your decisions from Mass Effect 1 to carry over to Mass Effect 2. And like I had a blast in Mass Effect 2. I think one thing to really capture your attention is that there's genocide. There's
Oh.
sci-fi genocide. So I actually think you would really enjoy it because it's one of those games that really pioneered like decision making
Right, right.
and
Yeah,
how
I know
how
that.
to
I'm aware of
play.
that. Yes, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um so yeah, you could do the same thing once we all play together. Okay, so IDK, do you have any thoughts about it?
Uh, Mass Effect has always been a series I kind of wanted to get into, but then it was like, oh, the games are kind of old. Oh, you can't really get the DLC. It's not very easy to get. Oh, Mass Effect 3's ending was controversial. It's like it's not worth putting in the time just to get to that and be like disappointed. And so now that they're gonna take all of them, combine them together with all the DLC, and the fact that they've made some adjustments and changes to 1 and 2, make them a little more friendlier, a little more modern. I think that's what I read. Why not? Why not jump in and see what happens? They have a what would you call it? An infamous style system, I think, about being
Mhm.
good or bad. I have heard through the grapevine that being bad is not really rewarding. But you know me, you know where my heart lies on such morality systems. So People should be prepared for a shepherd who does not care.
I'm curious, IDK. What alignment do you consider yourself?
Me personally?
Yeah, chaotic neutral.
Yeah, chaotic neutral. Probably.
Interesting.
Or chaotic lawful, probably.
There's no such thing as chaotic lawful. You mean chaotic good?
I made it up. Chaotic lawful.
Chaotic lawful.
I am chaotic in the state of laws.
What?
They're the laws of chaos.
What?
Yeah, chaotic good, I guess. Chaotic neutral. Chaotic good, chaotic neutral. Yeah, I guess so.
I think IDK is more of a chaotic neutral. He loves dice. I think it's all you need to know.
Mm.
He loves the dice. He loves the dice.
Who lives, who dies? Let's roll the dice to find out. Hope you don't roll the
What
one.
about you, Kagros?
I used to think I was chaotic neutral, but I'm pretty sure I'm actually chaotic good. You know me. I don't like following the rules. I don't like following rules, but I think I'm a good person. I think I'm a good person. Nervous laughter.
Okay.
I feel like Kagros is like the true neutral. I think you're the true neutral.
Maybe. I don't think I'm chaotic neutral anymore, though. I used to think I was, but I don't think I ever was. I think that's a lie. I like IDK is chaotic. Like after I met IDK, I'm like, yeah, I'm not chaotic neutral. IDK is textbook definition of chaotic neutral. What about you?
I think
GC?
so too. I would think I'm like neutral good, if anything. I don't think I'm lawful or chaotic. Yeah. But anyways, we're here for today's episode, okay? Which is the Nintendo Indie event. So spoiler warning, or not spoiler warning, but anyways, IDK and I have already watched this earlier today. Kagros hasn't watched this, so we're watching it with him. And I guess IDK and I are just gonna make some snarky comments as we watch.
Pretty much.
All right. Well.
Are you all ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready.
Ready?
Let's do this.
All right, I'm gonna play it. Let's go.
Is it playing?
Is it playing?
Is it playing?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Do I have the wrong link? Let me refresh.
You should see Indie World.
Yes, I do see Indie World. Yeah, go ahead and play it. It's not playing right now for me. There it is. All right, it's playing for me now.
I paused it.
Hello,
That's why.
everyone. Welcome to Indie World. My name's Ted.
And I'm Elise, and we're here to check out a fresh selection of indie games coming to the Nintendo Switch system.
There are lots of great games out there, and we're here to help you find your next favorites. So let's get started.
Hey, it's me, Alex. I'm okay. I met this boy, loser, at the diner, at the gas station, in the mountains.
Kagros, you've already watched this one.
Yes,
They
I
were
have.
hitchhiking,
You told me.
driving.
Yes. Let's
What do you think about it?
I
Looking
like this game. I like the storytelling here. I think it's interesting.
Jared, Sonia, and running from the police,
Yeah,
running from some bad guys.
This was definitely the right
They
game
hacked
to
me,
start with.
Played games
Yeah.
with me. They stole my money.
It is a little interesting that it's being made
But I
by
have to come back home. I have to
a
make my
French
way.
development
Not
studio.
brigades.
Like the creators are both
That's-
French.
Road
That's set in America.
Road 42,
Yeah, it's like set in
Road
a
67,
Classica
Road
America.
96.
I think it's because it's just like they said. It's based off
Ici
of the old movies.
studio indé du sud de
The
la France.
old, I forgot they
On est heureux de vous
say
annoncer
it
que notre
there.
nouveau jeu sortira
Ah.
sur Nintendo Switch.
Road 96 est un
Road
jeu
movies in the
narratif et
90s.
procédural inspiré
Yeah,
par
road
les road
movies. Yeah, I
des
think
années
that's probably
90.
why.
C'était un super défi de vous raconter une histoire en commençant par n'importe quel morceau et on est très content de la forme que ça a pris.
On a mis tout ce qu'on aime dans les road trips. Des
I'm
événements
surprised
forts,
they
des
went
surprises à chaque
through
tournant. Ce jeu, c'est des souvenirs de voyage qu'on a créés juste
Nintendo
pour vous.
Switch to
Où
release
on
this.
vous emmène,
You
personne
would have
ne le
thought
sait,
that
car
Ubisoft
votre
would
chemin
have
vous
picked them
appartient.
up.
On espère que ce premier aperçu de Road
Interesting. Why would you say that? Because they're French?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
I'm excited to see where these roads lead in this procedural
I
story-driven
mean,
game from
if I were them, I
Digital.
wouldn't want to put my stock in with
Take on the
Ubisoft
roles
right
of
now.
different
I guess.
teenagers and hit the open
But
road
I'm
for
very
a
interested in
path
this
to
game.
freedom.
This is a good game to start with for sure.
On this perilous trip,
I'm very
you'll meet
interested in the
characters from all
branching
walks
storylines
of
here.
life and learn their intertwining stories. Some folks may help you out. Others
I
might
think
be
at this
journey.
point, if it's not
With
obvious to our
thousands of
viewers, I am
potential paths to take,
definitely very
the
heavy
decisions you make
on storytelling.
will drastically alter your experience.
If you watch all 21
happens if
episodes,
you
I
take the
think you
bus?
should know this about me by now.
Or call a taxi. In the end,
I just wonder
all
how
roads
many
have to lead
scenarios
somewhere.
there are.
Yeah.
Are you?
There are many roads. Which one will you take? Road 96 drives onto Nintendo Switch later this year.
There's potential for this to be really good and also potential for it to be really
I
bad.
go by Aerial Knight Online. I'm the creator and developer of Aerial Knights Never Yield, a narrative runner that captures the
You haven't
spirit of
watched
classic
this one
games
yet,
I watched
genre
this one too.
With a few new features and
Okay.
a lot of style. I created
This
game
one
for
looks
choice
really cool.
to make space for myself in the game industry, which previously
Gameplay,
refused
I'm
to
not
make
too,
space for me.
too
With the help of
I
some
don't
of
care
my
too much,
amazing
but
friends who created
I'm
something
getting
that
a lot of
represents
Into the
much more.
Spider-Verse vibes from
I'm
this,
proud to announce
game.
that Aerial Knights Never Yield.
Mhm,
is
mhm.
coming
I
to
really
Nintendo
dig the
Switch.
music.
Yeah,
Which
it's
means
like I said, it's
bring
very.
me to victory.
I think
got-
gameplay-wise,
Soundtracks
it was
at home or
okay.
on the go.
Like,
Please
free
enjoy
whole,
this look
like,
at Aerial Knights Never Yield.
running from left to right. I guess parkour in it. You know what? It actually kind of reminds me of like a more focused Sonic the Hedgehog game.
But yeah, yeah,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
it's a very
Movie
Into the
path.
Spider-Verse feel to it, like with the music
Yeah.
and everything. And I thought it's interesting how they took it. It's in Tokyo, like it's like Neo Tokyo as well. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting blend.
It's like a Neo Tokyo in Detroit.
Yeah, right. It's really interesting
It
blend.
is set in Detroit.
Bringing it back in full effect to the next. Running with the best, never missing a step. From the east to the west, I stay fresh out finesse. I progress.
I definitely think this is definitely an indie game.
Oh yeah.
You can definitely tell by the feel and
It has the look of it for sure. Like, these animations are pretty jank.
I know, but like the theme as well, like like all of the flavor and everything.
This definitely isn't your typical runner. A 3D side-scroller with parkour action set in a futuristic Tokyo-style Detroit? Sign me up.
Run, jump, slide, and dash through the city as the protagonist Wally to save what's left of the future. And you'll no doubt be head-bopping to the amazing soundtrack by Detroit artist Daniel Wilkins, with vocals from artists around the world.
Aerial Knights Never Yield slides onto
pretty cool,
Nintendo
yes.
Switch May 19th.
I think the game should be cell shaded. It almost has a look.
Later today.
You should
I
add
think
what?
the art cell
Oh,
shade.
Cell shaded?
Yeah.
Annapurna Interactive,
Does look like that.
publisher of Florence and What Remains of Edith Finch, have a couple more artistic gems headed to Nintendo Switch. Let's take a look.
I'm a big fan of Annapurna
Jack,
as a publisher.
everybody thinks you're me. We have to face the facts here. We aren't ever gonna be the same again.
Why are you only speaking to me and not the others?
Whoa.
I bent over backwards trying to keep this family together, but what can I do with this?
This is mental! Dad! You've been playing me.
I haven't done anything.
This is the next frontier. Now show them what you're made of.
How do you know what to keep? And what to get rid of? There's some things that I can't let go.
Look at this
They transport me to
minimalistic
the past.
graphics. Interesting.
Distant memories. And dreams that cascade into one another. Before I know it, I'm pulled back to the present. Standing here, alone.
Hindsight. Interesting.
Interesting.
You have my attention.
Last Stop arrives on Nintendo Switch July 2021. Hindsight comes to Nintendo Switch later this year.
So it's a little weird that they have those two trailers back to back.
I'm stoked to announce
I don't know why.
Our new game is a vibrant action platform.
It almost looks like it's
taking you on
one
a journey
game
across
together.
The island of Radland on a quest to meet the
That is
legendary
true.
skate gods. Skateboarding is a sport and an art form with so much space for
Skateboarding?
creativity and
What
expression.
is it, Tony Hawk?
And that's something we really wanted to capture.
Nah, Ollie Ollie.
We're embracing the weird,
That's
wonderful,
Ollie Ollie.
diverse
No, I
sides
know,
of
I know,
skateboarding.
I know, I know,
A game
but-
that's all about
Which
going
I've
on
never
road
heard
trips
of
with friends,
before, but
finding
apparently
crazy
it's
spots,
popular.
and of course, skating everything in sight. The team have put a lot of love into this project, and we're really excited to share it with you. So without further ado, here's a look at Ollie Ollie World.
Ollie Ollie Wild.
The latest
Ollie
title
Ollie
in the
World.
Ollie Ollie
Oh, World.
series from Roll 7 is just off the rails. Tear up the streets of Radland and search for the mystical skate gods on your quest for Nirvana
What?
in
Skate
this slick
gods?
action platformer. The developers have created a silky smooth gameplay experience with super tight controls and level design that flows with your combos.
Huh.
There are so many tricks to master that even a legendary skater would tremble.
There's no need to aim for precision all the time, though. Down for a more chilled out experience? Explore multiple paths through the game's levels. Along the way, you'll get to meet colorful characters, take on quirky side quests, and discover all the hidden secrets of this weird and gorgeous skating utopia.
This is an interesting,
Ride through
you know,
Radland in
side-scrolling
Ollie
game.
Ollie World, launching on Nintendo Switch this winter.
IDK, do you get Sonic vibes from this game?
Hallo,
I
ich bin
kinda
Peter
do.
von Studio Seufz aus Deutschland.
Kinda.
Vor 9 Jahren kam ich
I mean,
beim Wandern an eine Höhle,
doesn't go
die
fast
mit
enough,
Steinen
but
verknüpft ist. Ein alter König
could get
legte sich
interesting.
wirklich dort zur Ruhe und bat seinen Diener, ihn aufzuwecken,
Oh, this
sobald die
game
Zeit
was
gekommen ist.
kind
Ich
of interesting to
fand diese
me.
Geschichte so faszinierend, dass ich unbedingt ein Videospiel davon machen wollte, wo
But I don't know if
man
I'd play
Tage
it.
auf dieses Erwachen warten muss. Und einige Jahre lang war dieses Spiel mein Herzensprojekt, weil ich herausfinden wollte, wie man Zeit als Spielmechanik verwenden kann, um diese Geschichte zu erzählen. Ich hoffe, ihr werdet alle Spaß haben, jetzt The Longing auf der Nintendo Switch zu spielen.
Ooh, interesting graphics.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. My only thing is, I think this already came out on PC. So apparently someone played this game during the pandemic, like right from the start of the pandemic. And they spent the entire year playing this game.
Huh.
So I guess this is just the Switch release of it.
What is it called? The Longing?
Yeah, The Longing.
Step back.
This hand-drawn art style, I've never seen anything like it. And wow, 400 days in real time?
In real time!
You
Jesus.
don't
It's real time.
actually have to
It's
play
real
this
time.
adventure game to see how it ends. But that doesn't mean you should leave this little guy all alone. This is a shade, the last servant of a king who once ruled an underground kingdom. Explore dark caves, complete time-based puzzles,
400
and collect items as you
days?
long for him to awaken. The
Dude,
Longing comes to Nintendo Switch later today.
What?
Yeah, 400
What's our
days.
next game?
There is no game.
All right then?
No, really. The game is actually called There Is No Game. It's a point-and-click comedy adventure filled with riddles and puzzles. There's a broader story here in this non-game as well. Let's not ruin the fun though. Just know this. If you're looking for something different, something experimental that's full of surprises, then look no further.
This
There
looks
is
like
no
a
game, wrong
like an art
dimension.
game, you know, an
Launches
art
on
game.
Nintendo Switch later
Yeah.
today.
But I think this is a series. Not sure.
Hi, this is JF from Tribute Games.
And I'm Cyril from Dotemu.
Today we're very excited to announce Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge for Nintendo Switch system.
Teenage
This game is a
Mutant Ninja
side-scrolling
Turtles?
beat
What?
'em up. We took
Shredder's
direct
Revenge.
Inspiration from the classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games.
How's this
like
an indie
Turtles
game?
Back. We're using the classic.
It's being made by an
famous
indie
80s
studio.
That's
design
true.
With colorful pixel art.
We are really
Yeah, it just
happy
has a
to
major
have the game
IP.
coming to Nintendo Switch, as the
Take a look.
platform and features fit the project perfectly.
We hope you like this trailer as much as we do.
See you in Dimension X.
Let's take a look. Oh wow, this is
It's very
this is
retro.
This is retro. Oh, this is so retro, dude. This is like an arcade game. This is like you can look at it, it's like you can find this game in the arcade.
Yeah, it's basically supposed to be a successor to the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade games of the past.
That's really cool.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Donatello, my favorite.
Raphael. Actually, my favorite was Michelangelo.
Nice.
Party dude.
Yeah, this dude. They should release this like in with an arcade cabinet, dude.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But Dotemu, the same guys
Whoa. Did we just flash back to the 80s?
Even better, this is a new game that proudly celebrates its roots. The game is reminiscent of classic arcade beat-em-ups.
Yeah, it is.
Retro
it is. It really is. They really got the feel.
Reunites our 4 favorite turtles as they kick some serious shell. Dive into this bodacious game developed by Tribute Games.
I'm sure Chunky would love to play this with us.
Also published Streets of Rage 4 and Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap.
Cowabunga! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge comes to Nintendo Switch later this year.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
From Columbia.
Yeah!
Chris Tales.
Who has this game? Who has this game? Does someone have this game?
Classic in
I
modern
do.
JRPGs. What especially stands out about it is the time-traveling aspect of gameplay. You can shift time during combat, which can have a variety of effects, like making enemies younger and thus easier to defeat.
While exploring this handcrafted, dark fairy tale world, you'll recruit a diverse cast of allies and discover new realms, such as the Shining Kingdom of Crystallis. Can you stop the Empress from destroying the world?
Yeah.
Tales lands on Nintendo
The art was what
Switch
really sold
July
me.
20th.
I wasn't sure it was going to come out this year, though. But yeah.
It is.
Showcasing a stylized Japanese aesthetic, Getsu Fumiden delivers a dynamic hack-and-slash
IDK, this
broken
game.
experience filled with
My only
perilous
concern is
dungeons,
who's making it.
fierce
Konami,
boss
right?
battles, and
Yeah,
intense
Konami.
skill-based
That's not
combat.
an indie studio.
Delve
What?
into the depths of the underworld.
Well, I mean, they've fallen down so far, they might as well be one.
Otherworldly powers.
I mean, the gameplay doesn't look too bad, but it's Konami.
Getsu Fumiden,
I don't know if I can trust them.
Undying Moon.
That's
comes to
true.
Nintendo Switch.
Like their Contra game they put out a couple years ago was super
Hola,
super
soy
bad.
Guille Lienzo, el estudio mexicano detrás de
Oh,
Aztec
interesting.
Forgotten
An
Gods.
Aztec game.
Hoy
huh?
estamos súper emocionados
Oh,
de
this
compartir
one-
con ustedes por
This
fin
one actually is
nuestro
kind of
siguiente
interesting.
proyecto. Un juego
A
de
little
acción
weird,
aventura
though.
inspirada en una de las culturas más hermosas del planeta. Aztec Forgotten Gods combina una historia profunda con un universo fascinante y lleno de acción. En Lienzo estamos muy orgullosos de poder compartir un poquito de México con jugadores en todo el mundo. Esperemos que les guste.
Quetzalcoatl. Is that Quetzalcoatl?
I think so, yeah.
You mean Rayquaza?
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting concept, I have to say. Interesting, like
If you're looking for a grand adventure, look no further than Aztec
I'm
Forgotten
surprised
Gods.
that it looks
It
this
tells the story
good
of Ashley,
on the Switch.
A courageous woman who battles
It looks
colossal demons.
disingenuous.
The
It looks
game
like a
puts Aztec mythology
PlayStation
and
game.
futuristic technology front and center.
As Ashley,
Yeah,
you'll gain
kinda.
powerful arm upgrades. Traverse
Well,
different
maybe
areas
not here,
in
but,
modern
like,
Mesoamerican
earlier,
metropolis
it looked
and
really
encounter
good.
all sorts of characters to uncover ancient secrets. However, sometimes the truth is best left forgotten. Aztec Forgotten Gods soars onto the Nintendo Switch system fall 2021.
안녕하세요. 사우스포 게임즈 대표 박상우입니다. 스컬 더 히어로 슬레이어는 로그 요소가
I'm actually very excited for this game, even though it came out on the PC.
전남대학교에 있는 게임 개발 동아리에서
Oh, is it? Where on the PC?
어릴 적부터
Yeah.
액션 플랫포머 게임에 빠져 살았던 꿈 많은 청년들은
I think Juicy, you really like roguelike games, huh?
I do. I like the.
마음을 무찌르는 용사와 같은
I just like the variety, and like, you don't have to invest
이제 곧
so much into it.
몬스터 스켈레톤의 영웅담이 시작됩니다.
Look at that skeleton.
So cool.
The art is very pretty. Very clean too. In comparison to like
This
the
game looks
Aztec
hella really hard though. This game looks really hard.
Yeah,
it
looks
looks
hard.
really hard.
Skull the Hero Slayer is a 2D fast-action roguelite where you take on an entire army to rescue your king. And the best part, to progress in the game, you'll need to swap abilities, which is done by swapping heads.
With 90 playable characters, I mean heads, each with their own special abilities, plus numerous items and upgrades, there are certainly enough possibilities here to make your head spin.
So get ahead. Literally, in Skull the Hero Slayer, launching on Nintendo Switch, summer 2021.
all these head puns are giving me a headache.
Today's showcase. Before we go, there are several more indie games we'd like to show you. Please take a look.
Look at that drift.
I think all these games already have come out.
Probably. Let's see.
Not all of them. There's a couple that haven't.
Available this summer. I wonder how Chunky would like that game. Look at them drifting.
I want to play this game.
I swear I've seen.
It looks like
I
it's from
swear-
a book, out of like a Where's Waldo book.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I swear I've seen something like this before.
I don't know what this game is.
Weaving Tides is dodge. Ah, so the Dead remake, randomly out of nowhere.
Ender Lilies.
Quietest of the Nights. It looks interesting.
Side scroll.
Might be. Yeah, it might be another Hollow Knight clone.
This is Pokemon Snap?
Yeah, I guess
no.
so. And then Fez, randomly out of nowhere, is on the Switch.
Ready to start your next indie adventure
Sale.
on Nintendo Switch? Head on over to Nintendo eShop or Nintendo.com for our Indie World sale, available later today.
Woo! That's all for today's Indie World Showcase. We hope you're looking forward to these games.
On behalf of everyone at Nintendo, we'd like to thank our talented community of partners and developers
What do you think,
for
Kagros?
bringing their games to the
It's
Nintendo
interesting.
Switch system.
There are a couple interesting ones.
And thank you to all of our amazing fans for tuning in.
To stay up to date with all the latest news from Indie World, please be sure to follow our official Twitter account at IndieWorldNA. Until next time.
Happy gaming.
What?
We spoke too soon. We actually have one more game to show you.
Alright, it better be a good one, obviously. This is the coup de grace, right?
Yeah.
Best one.
Welcome. First, we're gonna have a little fun tonight, folks.
Creepy. What the? Uh-oh.
Riley, come in, Riley. Can you hear me? Riley? Riley, are you there?
Girl, what you doing? What is this? Stranger Things? Uh-oh. Interesting.
Aren't you disappointed? Where's Silk Song? Where is Silk Song?
Not here,
Hollow
baby.
Knight.
Not here.
Ah.
Dude, this Hollow Knight... Wait, what? Does it have a release date?
No, it does not.
Oh, that's
No, no.
unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
I'm just gonna play it while we talk about it.
Okay, let me pull up the screen.
I mean, they'll probably be part of their big announcements at the E3 thing, probably.
I really hope so.
I see them saving it for that. Like, it's too big of a game to be announced with the indies now.
It's a 96 for sure.
That's some pretty wishful thinking there, Mr. Juicy.
It's wishful that it comes out this year.
I mean, you might as well say it's a 98, dude. Like, if you're gonna say 96, just go for broke, dude. Just go for 98.
Going for broke is taking 80 and it coming out this year. Look at those graphics.
It does look really nice.
Is Hollow Knight, is it a hard game? Is it difficult?
Hollow Knight?
It is a little hard. But it's manageable. It's not like Dark Souls, in my opinion.
I'm thinking like a Cuphead.
I mean, the bosses, in my experience, the little short time I played it, the bosses could get a little...
Like technical, I'm talking about like technical and timing. Gotta get everything down.
Kind of technical, kind of tests your nerves. Like, I got really frustrated.
Yeah.
And also there's the issue of like, when you die, you have to run all the way back. Like, there's a lot of walking back places.
Because I ain't young anymore, dude. I don't got the reflexes that I have anymore. I used to have.
Same here. But I did play this game when I was old. I played this game like 2 years ago, so it's really good. Hollow Knight, that is.
Alright, so let me see here.
Okay, pull up your list.
Oh yeah, so you do have Hollow Knight. TBA, that's unfortunate. That was your first pick, right? Hollow Knight was your first pick.
I love Hollow Knight.
Alright, so I'm gonna pull up, so like I'm guessing we're gonna discuss the indie world first. Let me fix this. Go. Let me pull up the list from the. I need a refresher.
Sure.
So definitely for me, the first game. I think we talked about this. Like here it is. Definitely the first game, Route 96. Very interested. You know, definitely very interested about it. Aerial Knights Never Yield. Is, you know, I got a lot of you know, Into the Spider-Verse vibes from it. Interesting, but it's a side scroller, so I'm not too interested about it.
They have a demo out, so I hope it's fun.
So Annapurna, I think Annapurna, did they have a big release this year?
I don't know.
No, I think it was on the PlayStation. Solar Ash. They're the ones doing Solar Ash.
Oh.
Gotcha.
And then they're also releasing 12 Minutes, which I don't think anyone currently has. That was interesting as well. Let me see what else. And then Neon White, which I believe you drafted, Juicy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Annapurna is definitely an interesting publisher. I think you know, definitely a very interesting publisher. I do want to try Outer Wilds.
Did they publish that?
No, it's out for other systems, but it's coming to the Switch as well.
Oh, I didn't know they published it.
Yeah, it's you can play on PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
Yeah.
So that one I'm also interested in as well. But I think between the two, I'm interested in Hindsight more. That's a very interesting, you know, that one was a little interesting. Ollie, you know, like I said, side scrollers aren't really for me, but I think that's an interesting take on the side scroller because, you know, it's technical.
It looks cool. It looks like again, it looks like Sonic. You just like go really fast, take different paths, do crazy tricks.
So The Longing, I'm looking up right now. It did come out on Windows and Mac in March 2020.
Yeah,
it is very interesting. 400 days. You have to spend 400 effing days playing this game.
Wow.
Like that's a Twitch stream right there, dude. That's one hell of a Twitch stream.
That's what someone did apparently. Right at the beginning of the pandemic, they got the game. They streamed playing that game the whole pandemic.
Definitely very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I'd play it. I could see myself playing that game just because, like, hey, like, I mean, to be honest, like, IDK, how many hours did you spend on Persona 5? 500, right?
Last I checked, I think it was 454.
So you spent 20 days playing Persona, and so that's only 5% of the longing, dude. That's only 5%.
I was like playing all day on the weekends and like playing as much as I could on the weekdays after I got home from work, like from 6 to midnight every day. So the fact you have to put like even more time for that game, oh god.
Oh, okay, all right. So the game is notable. So I'm reading the Wikipedia page right now. The game is notable in that the in-game 400 days pass in real time, regardless of whether or not the player opens the game. So basically, when you start, that's when the timer starts.
Oh.
I thought you had to leave the game open for 400 days. But if it's passing, you know, in the background and not even the game's open, I think that's definitely doable. That being said, I think you should power stream. There should be an option to turn off the. You have to have the game open for 400 days.
You have to spend 400 hours.
You have to. No, you have to spend 400 days. So that's like 8,000 hours. No, that's 10,000 hours in the game. You have to have the game open. Open is fine, but to run in the background, yeah. I think that game's very interesting though.
It says that you can finish the game before the 400-hour mark or 400-day mark.
Okay. Spoilers.
Yeah.
I mean, spoilers. You can just find the ending probably on YouTube by now.
All right, so there is no game. Not interested in it at all. That's an art game. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, definitely. You know that's an art. You know that's definitely a retro game. I think just by watching the trailer, they really got the feel down on point for sure. So, Chris Tales, it's okay. You know, I think IDK is the one that's really high on it, considering that he owns it in our fantasy league here.
That's good.
Did you bid on it? Did you bid on it or did you draft it?
I bid on it.
You bid on it, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I bid on it. No one else countered because
it's
unknown indie.
Yeah, and then Aztec. I do like the play on words there. Aztec, Forgotten Gods. That's a interesting concept. Interesting world building, I should say. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Skull the Hero Slayer. That game looks hard, dude. Art of the Rally.
I want to play that game, even though it's on PC.
Kiwi. I don't know. So now we're in like the game footage, those snippets of Labyrinth City. Oh, okay. So apparently we were on point. The developer. Labyrinth City, developer Darjeeling's an adaptation of children's book series Pierre the Maze Detective. So yes, so we definitely got the vibes there. Definitely got the vibes there. Got it correct. Weaving Tides.
Yeah, it's on Steam already.
Okay.
Wait, no, it's not. I take it back.
Weaving Tides. Interesting. And then House of the Dead remake. I've never actually played it. I've seen it in the arcades before, but Ender Lilies. Wow. So it actually comes out in the summer for both Switch, Steam, PS4, and PS5.
What is that game about?
According to the website I'm looking at, Ender Lilies, Quests of the Knights, described as a dark fantasy Metroidvania fairy tale.
Oh.
Interesting.
It does sound like it's running off with Hollow Knight's whole theme. They replaced Hollow Knight with a cute girl.
That sounds like that's gonna appeal to IDK. IDK is the target audience. You got Metroid, you got cute anime girls. I don't know what's more IDK than that.
It's true. It is my alley, Metrovania.
All right, and then Beast of Maravilla Island. There are puzzles to be solved, animals interactive, and of course photos to be snapped when it launches. It sounds like Pokemon Snap to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fez. And then Oxenfree 2. So apparently there's an Oxenfree 1.
Yes, there is.
This just sounds like Stranger Things, the video game. Let me see here.
Oxenfree 1 was supposed to be really good. It was free through the Epic Store a long time ago. I got it, but never played it.
Interesting. Is it a supernatural mystery graphic novel? So on Metacritic, Oxenfree 1 is about an 80. Interesting. But yeah, I think the ones that appeal to me the most, maybe it's because of the placement of it, but definitely Route 96. Belonging as well, but now that I know you can play on the background, it's not. Kind of loses his touch a little bit there. And let's see. Yeah, I think those are the big two that I'm interested in. What about you, IDK?
Chris Tales is one of the ones I'm really interested in because, yeah, like even before just the art style and like the time travel shenanigans, you know, you can change time so that your enemies are like go from being these experienced soldiers to being like little kids or like not existing at all. That's how you can win the battle. But that one looks really interesting. The Longing really, the art style really got me for that one.
What people don't know is that IDK's favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card is Time Wizard.
Is it really, IDK?
No, it's not. I think my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card is Exodia.
Of course. Oh, of course.
All 5 pieces of the puzzle. That or what's his name? The Frankenstein guy.
Frankenstein guy.
You pay like all your life points and you can summon out any fusion card you want.
Oh, I don't know what card that is.
Yeah, it's super banned.
Cyberstein.
Cyberstein, yeah. I used that in the old GBA Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Not banned. You bring up Blue Eyes Ultimate.
Blue Eyes White Ultimate. Yeah. Good luck with that in turn 3, baby.
And then you lose to Raigeki, dude. And then you lose to Raigeki. I'm telling you, lose to Raigeki.
I know, but it was so fun to throw it at them. People were like,
absolutely.
I can't do anything. Yeah, auto win. But what else? Chris Tales, Longing seemed cool. Ninja Turtles game looks like it'll be alright. The thing is, those classic old school beat 'em ups, like they were quarter eaters. So you would always eventually reach a point where the game just beats your ass and forces you to pay more money. Nowadays, you don't have to worry about that, but the games get really grindy and long. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. Because they did release Streets of Rage 4, and Streets of Rage 4 was pretty grindy. But it was still good. It gave you that classic arcade experience. Route 96. That's about it. Maybe there's some other ones I don't remember.
What about you, GC?
Yeah, I think Road 96 is definitely the most the one that has the most potential, but I'm a little pessimistic on the game. I think, frankly, what caught my attention after looking more into it is the Ender Lilies, the anime girl. I'm actually a huge fan of Metroidvania, so I think Hollow Knight really captured that passion for me. So
yeah,
something I'm gonna keep my eye out on. I think Oxenfree looks really cool. I feel like there's a lot of hype behind the game since it's the last game as well. And then the Labyrinth City, the Waldo looking game, that looks really cool. I definitely want to buy that game when it comes out.
So I guess now that we talked about the ones that are favorite, I'm curious, would you guys draft any of these for the Fantasy League?
I already got one of them.
Yeah, I know you did, but I'm sorry. Would you guys bid on any of these for the Fantasy League?
Maybe Ninja Turtle, maybe the Labyrinth one, the Metrovania one. If we had a bunch of extra room, yeah, I'd probably get that one too. But otherwise, maybe just those.
Yeah, I think I would bid on the Oxenfree and also the I don't know what else, and maybe the turtles.
Interesting. What would I? Yeah, I think
Road?
like you said. I think you said Road 96 is pretty risky because it's definitely a story driven game. So it's basically how many branching storyline options do they actually have? Like, so yeah, that one it's risky.
Yeah.
I actually think the problem is some of these games have already released, so we can't bid on them anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. Anything I would actually bid on? I'd have to look and do a research, but I think Oxenfree 2 for sure is an interesting one to bid on. Road 96 is a gamble. And besides that, maybe Aztec? Maybe Aztec? Forgotten Gods?
See, here's the thing about Aztec. I would actually potentially bid on that if I weren't afraid of getting bit in the butt like I was a couple, like, I think it was last league, where I had that game, what was it called? Sacrifice of the Gods or whatever. That kind of interesting game that ended up not getting enough review scores to get scored. So you have to be kind of careful with that. If it doesn't get enough attention, you get a score.
I do think within our league, I think we would be willing to make exceptions.
Yeah.
Right, that's true. But otherwise, indie games are always sort of a mixed bag because sometimes they're pushing the creative boundary of design, sometimes it's the art, maybe it's the gameplay. You sort of have to be willing to take the risk to play these games because it may not be that fully cooked experience you're used to. It can feel a little strange.
Do you guys have? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm really wondering how long the Aztec game's gonna be. Like they keep showing scenes of, like the open city and you're like flying around. But at what point do you get like tired of doing that?
Do you guys have a favorite indie game? So, like, an indie game qualifies as a game that has gone through early access, a game that doesn't come from the major AAA companies and publishers. So I think a good example, at least for this year, for you, Kagros, is Valheim. That's a pretty big indie game that has been pretty successful. Actually, IDK, do you play much indie games?
No, I don't normally play a bunch of indie games. I think it was anything I've really played this past year, other than like Among Us, obviously.
I do know. IDK, I know your favorite indie game.
What is
it? It's Shaq Fu 2.
Get that garbage out of my face right now before I melt it. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
So I'm gonna. I actually think one of my favorite games is Emily's Away 2. I'm gonna plug them, even though unfortunately we didn't hear back from the developer. But definitely Emily's Away 2, I think, is probably one of my favorite indie games. The thing is, I don't know. There may have been an indie game I played in the past that might have been better, but in the past 5 years, I think that one definitely had the most impact on me. And for it was, I think it was like $5 too, anyway. So definitely though that was a really good indie game. But if you were to ask me what is the best indie game, actually, let me ask the two of you then. What do you guys think is the best indie game ever created? By any you can use whatever metric you want, but what do you guys think is the best indie game of all time?
Minecraft.
Ooh. That's a pretty good one.
That is.
I was gonna say based on success, I was gonna say League of Legends.
Those guys ain't indie no more. That's for damn sure.
I know, but in the beginning they were indie as hell. They were just a small group working out of like a garage. Like Minecraft is probably bigger, but for success, going from basically working out of like a one or two room office, sleeping on the floor, to a big ass HQ.
Interesting.
Sleeping on the floor because it's game dev.
So I actually, when I posed the question, I actually thought Among Us would be the best indie game of all time because they literally define the genre. They're the best in that genre. There's no competition. Like they really, I didn't think you could innovate in like the Mafia style games, but they definitely did it. But then once Juicy brought Minecraft, I'm like, yeah, never mind. Yeah, it's Minecraft. But
Minecraft.
I think it's definitely Minecraft. But I think other ones that have been as successful is PUBG. I think PUBG is another huge, and to a lesser extent DayZ, which led to PUBG. DayZ, was an Arma mod, and then eventually and inspired PUBG. And PUBG, as we know it, definitely brought forth the battle royale genre, which is now very prevalent today. But to counter IDK's point, I would say that actually I think Dota is definitely a much more bigger indie game than League of Legends, because literally that same thing as DayZ. Started off as a mod in a game. Literally, it was like one guy working on a single map, and I think Dota is bigger because it literally spawned the genre. It's the progenitor.
Well, this mine was by how successful it is. I think League is more successful than
it
Dota.
is. It is, but
that's my criteria. If we're gonna argue like influential on like starting the whole thing, sure, give it to Dota, man. Dota was like, it was in Warcraft 3. Everyone had the game. Everyone was playing
by
it.
your definition, I think League is more successful overall, but yeah, Dota's definitely started. But I think Juicy hit on the head. It's Minecraft. It's Minecraft. There's no debating it. Minecraft is the greatest indie game of all time. There is no debating it. There's no debating it. I don't care how big of a League of Legends fanboy you are, but it's definitely Minecraft.
It was pretty amazing for them to take a copy of a game and then make it into this big, huge empire. But I just remembered what my would-be favorite indie game probably is. Slay the Spire.
Yeah. But you didn't play it, did you?
I played it. I have it. I played actually quite a bit of it. I really enjoyed it. And the thing is, I deleted it from my computer though because I got tired of it, so I'd forgotten. But I was thinking like, what games do I have that are like indie and like Slay the Spire? Like that game was a lot of fun. And
I think that's my first early access game that I've bought.
Oh.
Okay, okay. So actually, no. Now that I think about it, there is
Banner Saga. I just remembered that. That's technically that trilogy was really good. Did I play as much as Slay the Spire? No, but there's a reason for that because those games were long and tiring. But those were pretty good too. I forgot about those. Yeah, what the hell? I literally supported number 3.
So
Kagros.
I actually thought about it, and now that you brought up Slay the Spire, I realized that there is a game that is further back in my past that I think is definitely was more impactful to me. But the problem is, I don't think you guys would consider it a game, though. Although I would, because it is technically on Steam. But it is called Narcissu. I'm not sure I don't think any of you guys have played this. It's a visual novel.
Narcissus.
Yeah, I was gonna say VM.
That sounds familiar.
It's a visual novel. I had the Wikipedia page open. Released in 2005. I played it in 2007 originally on my DS through a visual novel emulator, or it was a port onto the just regular DS. It's a very linear game. Actually, no, it is completely linear. And it was done by a Dojin group. But like the storytelling in it was top notch. I played the second game as well. They released a second game. They also released a third. but it was on the PSP, so I never got a chance to try it. And one of the things on my list is that apparently they are making basically a complete remake of this, and will also include a fourth Narcissu game, but I haven't heard any news. I tried finding news on this, but I haven't found anything. But definitely Narcissu, and I don't know if you can consider it indie at this point. I don't think it is. But Ever 17 also is a big visual novel that I really liked, but I don't think you can consider that indie. Narcissu is definitely indie because it was made by Dojin Group. So I think for me, Narcissu is definitely very, that's I think that's probably kickstarted. It was one of the games that kickstarted my foray into visual novels. But Ever 17 was the one that ignited the fire for sure.
Speaking of visual novels and indie games, have you all played Doki Doki?
I have not. I'm scared. I'm scared of that game.
I am scared too, but
should we play it? You guys want to play it?
It's not there.
Doki Doki, yeah, Literature Club, yes.
Okay, I think IDK should play this game.
But I know the ending already.
I do too.
I don't know the ending.
I do too. Actually.
I don't know the ending. I just know it's like school days. I just know it's like school days, and it's full of death and gore, and yeah, that's what I know about it.
Okay, maybe Kagros is a good candidate for this.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! I don't want to play it, guys. I'm scared.
Oh, I forgot about another one I played a bunch. Stardew Valley.
Yes. Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
That's a good one. I played a lot of that. That was a lot of fun.
So one thing I also do like about these indie showcases that I think is really lost in the world of video games when you go to like AAA publishers, right? Is the fact that you have developers from all around the world making these indie games. So like I think that this Nintendo Indie World Showcase was a good example of that. You had people from all over the world showcasing small developers showcasing their games, right? Then we have like Mexico, France, South Korea, among others. But I think it's definitely really, for marginalized groups, I think it's definitely a great way to get your voice out out in the video game industry. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but I think was it like 5 to 10 years ago, like some indigenous group in Alaska released this indie game.
Yeah. The one that told the tale of like their tribe or something, right?
Yeah. And I think that's really cool, right? Like that's really cool.
The art style is really interesting too. I remember that.
Let me see. What was it called?
I don't remember. It was like some really poetic name.
Let me see. Never Alone? Never. I think it's Never Alone. I think it's this one. Let me see.
Oh, guys. How could we be thinking of indies and forget about Cuphead and Undertale?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, Undertale is the big one. Yeah.
So yeah. So it's called Never Alone, and it's based. I don't want to butcher the name, but it is based on the Inuit tribe from Alaska, and it was developed with a nonprofit that works with indigenous groups living in Alaska's urban areas.
Yeah.
So, and it was like a 70 on Metacritic, but people really like the art design. And but yeah, I definitely think that it is cool that indie games is like a great way for for small developers to basically tell their story or tell whatever story they want to tell. And I actually think that's actually really, really cool because I think all of the people still don't take gaming seriously, right? They don't they said, oh, it's just for there is a significant subset of the population that believes that, oh, it's for children, but I think it's a cool showcase of what you can do with video games, and I for one am always all for that, because I think like video games as a media, there is no media as immersive as video games right now.
Yeah, I think on top of that, the quarantine really helped with people getting in touch with video games.
Mhm.
So instead of people, playing games on their phone like Clash of Clans or Clash Royale, they, went ahead and bought a Nintendo Switch or a PlayStation 4 and played some real video games with some real achievements and trophies. Just saying it out there. PS4, Nintendo Switch are real gamers. Just saying. But yeah, like you said, with indie games, I think like the representation of people all parts of, different sides of the world, like that's the epitome of indie game development.
Yep.
It's something that's grassroots, something really small, and
Well,
thankfully. Oh yeah, go ahead, IDK.
No, I was gonna say, going along with that. Remember the guy, the second game we saw, where he was like, the game industry wouldn't accept me, so I had to make a game, and now they'll have to let me in because I'm a game developer. I was thinking back to another thing that I conveniently forgot was an indie game, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yep.
That was an indie game. And you know why that series was even born? Because his previous games as an indie developer were mocked because they were too robotic and creepy. And he was like, fine, you want to see robotic and creepy? I'll show you robotic and creepy. And that's how that game was born. It was going to be his last game, and it took off. It sent him through the roof.
And now the latest game is being shown on the PlayStation Direct. Was it the PlayStation Direct?
PlayStation Direct.
Yeah.
It's a huge franchise. And going through like Steam's like indies category, there's like all these games in here I'm seeing that I'm being reminded of, like, oh yeah, that's an indie game. I think of them as being bigger than that, but Honey Pop, remember that game? That's an indie game. Spelunky.
Honey Pop?
Honey Pop, the Bejeweled match 'em with like girls you can date.
What? Wait. Girls you can date. What is this? What?
That sounds like a game for IDK to.
That sounds like a game for IDK, dude.
Have you guys ever heard of Honey Pop?
Oh my god! What is it? I should have turned on incognito mode. What was I thinking here?
What the hell?
Honey Pop, yeah. Match 3.
Dude, IDK. IDK. The very first thing it does when you put it into Steam is to ask your age.
Because there's there's sex stuff in it, I think.
Oh,
you should have told me.
Oh no, you should have led with that, IDK. I gotta turn on the safe search. Come on.
There's so many games that you just sort of like ignore that they're indie because like, oh, you got popular, or oh, they're kind of big. Like,
IDK, Honey Pop. This is the first time I've heard of Honey Pop. This is the first time I've heard of IDK. Your games are not mainstream yet, IDK.
Unless there's the Dungeon, like Project Hospital, all these different games. I'm like, I've heard of these because I've watched people actually play them. I'm like, they got big. Yeah, Spirit of the North.
So. I think like you guys both know right now I'm playing with It Takes Two with Tonk right now.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, because it is sponsored by EA, it doesn't actually qualify as an indie game. But this is definitely an indie game as well. Like by other definitions, it is an indie game. I remember like I watched a review about It Takes Two, and the guy that reviewed it, he was like, that like there's so much passion that goes into this game. Because it's not monetized at all. And in fact that, like, it comes with a friend's pass, so you only need one copy to play the actual game. Right? So I think It Takes Two, it is not technically an indie game, but it basically is, and because it was, I think EA has, EA Originals program, where they support the indie developers as well, so I think It Takes Two is on track to being one of the best. It's going to win. I'm calling it. It's going to win awards at the, it's going to win awards at the Game Award show, at the end of the year for sure.
Oh yeah.
That unfortunately, it should be considered indie game, but because it is EA, even though EA is under an EA like a program for indie developers, it's no longer. It can't be considered indie game anymore. But that game right now is like the number one. It's like the top game of the year so far, which is pretty amazing.
You want to see all games like that where like it has fundings of a big corporation but with the heart of an indie developer.
Yes, I agree.
Just because they're able to like do whatever they want to do.
Like Ori and the Blind Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Good call out. Yeah.
Forgot about that one. Like, there's so many good games that like are in people's minds that we kind of forget are indies because they get bigger than that. You think of indies, you think of like some sort of slap together game that someone put out, hoping someone will buy it. But there's actually really good stuff out there, like Return of the Obra Dinn, Firewatch.
Oh, Firewatch.
Yeah,
that was interesting concept. And like with indie developers, they take more risks too, right? They take more risks. There's definitely a lot more artistic. What is it?
Galactic, Super Hot. Anyways, there's a whole ton of games that people have been playing that got popular, got big, but at the end of the day, they're still indies. They weren't made by a AAA or AA studio. It's just one guy or one gal, and maybe like a couple other friends helping this stuff out. And there's hundreds of them. Some are good, some are bad.
To wrap up tonight's show, let's say that we're all EA or we're some big corporation, right? And we're out there looking for these indie teams to make the next best indie game. And no idea is a bad idea. What is your indie idea for this indie team to make for you as a big corporation? You have this wild idea, something like It Takes Two, where you're a couple going through divorce, and then you shrink down into little puppets and you play together cooperatively. Like what is the crazy idea that you give that you pitch to your team to make? For example, like Honey Pop, you take you take anime, you take Bejeweled, and you take I don't know,
no.
hentai, and
there you go. So I think for me, it would definitely be a very involved game, where like the game I would make would be like, all right, it takes the span of one day. But you play the game as different character. Each playthrough you play as a different character to get a different viewpoint on what happens throughout the day. And the goal of the game as you the player, right, is to basically figure out like you can be like a spirit or some god or whatever, and the goal of your game is to unravel some kind of mystery after learning what you can from each of the characters. Something like that, like where like one person's perspective basically changes the entire storyline of what happened during that day. So I don't know, so something like that, something like kind of like what I know they're very controversial developer, but what is the name? Let me see. Quantic Dream, like kind of how Quantic Dream handles their games. With multiple viewpoints, but those are parallel storylines, or like I would like to I would develop something like that. I think that the video games they're very unique storytelling method, and something like this I think can only be done in video. Like I would want to do something you can only do in video games and literally nowhere else.
I see. I think for me, if I were bringing a team together to make an indie game, I would want something. I'd want to do a game based off of another game that I really liked that isn't being made anymore. Like an idea or something that's like been abandoned by the big publishers. So like, you guys remember One Step from Eden? That game that came out that basically, One Step from Eden was a game that came out like last year, I think. It basically like took gameplay from the Mega Man Battle Network series.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Wait, I know Battle Network.
Yeah, Battle Network, like your chip sleds and you're moving around a grid and you're dodging attacks, shooting back attacks. Like that style of gameplay, there isn't anything else doing that right now. And so that guy or that gal, whoever it is, put together a game where you get to play that gameplay. That's what I would look for if I had a team of people ready and waiting to make a game for indie. I would find some series that I liked in the past that sequel hasn't come out for. I would dream up a sequel to it, but then make it my own. Make it my own series.
Like a spin-off, kind of.
Kind of like a spiritual successor, you know? Like, if I were to make a Mega Man Battle Network game, it would have the same themes, maybe the same gameplay, but it wouldn't be about Mega Man, obviously. It'd be about some other character. I'd make it up. Yeah, that's how I would do it. It's kind of like, this technically would be news, because I just remembered it, but there's a team of people taking the Metroid Prime games, and they're making a 2D variant of them. So, like, they're pouring the story and characters into 2D Metroid as opposed to the 3D it's in right now. Of course, Nintendo's going to come down with the copyright claim and shut them down, but it was an interesting idea at the very least.
What about you, GC?
The one thing so the thing is that I would be Nintendo, so what I would do is I would make a Fire Emblem roguelike game, but in chess pieces. So all of my Fire Emblem characters are they're on this like chessboard, and you move like chess pieces. But then you also do romance stories with the Fire Emblem characters. It's very complicated, and it's a roguelike with chess pieces. That's my pitch to the indie team at Nintendo. But thank you everyone for watching today.
I got one more. I got one more idea.
Go for it. Final word. Go ahead.
I would. All right. If you're children at this point, you should shut off the episode. I actually think that Into the Subverse, whatever the hell they called it, Subverse. I think that one is a very good idea of pushing the envelope. So if I had money, I would be doing something like that as well. Like basically an 18+ game with, like the 18+ games are basically what is it? It's basically, what is it? Porn with plot. That's what they are, right? But I like what Subverse is doing, and they spin it now. So basically, it's plot but with porn. Like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, they kind of did it, but the porn is like very, very light. Like because they don't want to get that 18+ rating, right? So like it's really, really light. But I think there's something to be done in that area. Like I think that the landscape has changed such that you can have games with basically full on sex scenes, right? But you can still have it's basically a regular game, and you can just have sex with whichever waifu you want, right? Like, come on, like that should be that. There has to be a game like that. Like I think consumers are ready at this point. The internet is huge. You can you can go on any of the non-safe for work Reddit subreddits so easily now. I think that this is right for indie developers. Like big name publishers don't want to be associated with those kind of games. Well, then you can support an indie developer that will make that game for you. And I guarantee you it will sell like hotcakes because, as the old adage says, sex sells.
Yeah, you just gotta sell it to Rockstar and tell them, hey, make hot coffee again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree. They should. They absolutely should. Like, who gives a crap if like, parents are, there's that. Well, hey, we have this 18+ rating, then, then sell it through Steam only then, and then put in the...
It's in the PC release only as an add-on mod, and you can only buy it through Steam if you prove you're actually above 18.
Yeah, so but I think they should. I think the conversation has changed. The world isn't like what it was like 10 years ago. Like consumers have changed. I think maybe it's a little too soon, but I think eventually they should do that. It should be plot with porn. And yeah, because right now 18+ games are a laughing stock. It's basically it's just sex wrapped in a different different rappers or whatever you're into. But like,
I mean, we're to cap this off. If we're gonna go down that route, like, there's plenty of doujin out there that have amazing stories.
Oh yeah,
could totally be worthy of being published in a actual manga form, but the author decided to put sex in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, incredible stories. But just because the two main characters end up bonking, can't sell out to the public. Nope, gotta sell to
no.
Nope, not gonna work.
If it isn't obvious already to our viewers, me and IDK are the degenerates. Juicy is he's the more what is it? He's more subverted. He's more subverted.
I am the neutral good, whereas you guys are the chaotic whatevers.
Chaotic degenerates.
We are the degenerates. Chaotic neutral goes wherever I please.
Well, thank you everyone watching us live on Twitch. I'm actually going to shout out all the people that are watching us. I'm actually surprised that we have people watching us. We have Droop Dog, we have Grilly, we have Mr. Y, the wonderful great magician. I think that's what it means. There's Streamers Area, there's Tonk in the chat, and there's Tuscans. So thank you for watching us. I hope you guys are entertained. We just watched the Nintendo Indies. Hopefully we watch some more because we're always looking forward to these new releases for these games, even though if they've already released on PC. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I love games on the Switch. That's my preferred platform to play all of these indie games.
That's because you can play on the toilet, that's why.
Exactly.
Shout out to Genosia. Shout out to Genosia too. Indie Game of the Year.
Oh yeah, Genosia.
But yeah, if you're catching us up on YouTube, again, you don't have to subscribe. You don't even have to like, but do comment what indie game you would make if you were one of these crackpot, AAA companies with all the funding and whatnot. Make hentai with Bejeweled. It's already been done. What else can you make? But until then, from all of us, thank you. Have a good night. See you guys soon.
Good night. Thanks for watching.